By doing one of these three things, buyers will expect to pay 15% less for your car. In this video, I'm going to look at these surefire ways to devalue your car. For those looking to get as much money for their current car when it's time to sell, a list of surefire things to avoid has been highlighted by drivers currently in the market for a second-hand motor. Almost 9 out of 10 said they are less likely to consider a vehicle that has been smoked in over an identical model that hasn't. 3 in 5 are less likely to want a model that had been used to tow a caravan or trailer, whilst half would avoid cars previously used to transport pets. And 17% don't want motors that have had young children in the back. In a survey conducted by What Car, it was revealed that motorists would expect to pay up to 15% less for a second-hand vehicle for the aforementioned reasons. Smoking and pet ownership were the biggest problems for used buyers, with 85% of buyers expecting to pay less for cars that had been smoked in compared to an otherwise identical vehicle, and 65% expecting to pay less for cars that had transported pets. When asked how much less they'd expect to pay for a vehicle that was owned by someone who frequently lit up at the wheel, 2 in 5, which was the largest proportion, said they would expect to see the list price reduced by 15% or more compared to one that hadn't been smoked in, with more than a quarter saying that they would expect to pay between 5 and 10% less for a vehicle that still smells of cigarettes, and 1 in 5 would offer between 10 and 15% less than they would for a motor with a pristine interior. When asked how much less they would expect to pay for a vehicle that had transported pets, the biggest proportion of the drivers polled, which was 38%, said that they would anticipate handing over between 5 and 10% less compared to an otherwise identical model. Meanwhile, buyers were slightly more tolerant of young children and towing, with 3 in 5 buyers wanting to pay less for a car which had been used for towing, presumably due to the perceived additional stresses put on the vehicle by hitching a caravan or trailer to it for long periods. What Car was then told by more than 2 in 5 motorists that they think they are within their right to expect to pay less for a car that had transported kids in the rear seats over concerns about additional wear and cleanliness. The editor of What Car added that mileage, service history and overall condition are usually the big factors that determine a used car's price. But as our research shows, habits of previous owners can have a significant impact on the perceived value of a used car. This is incredibly handy information, as this study comes out as market data for June showed that the average price of a second-hand car has risen year on year for the 27th consecutive, reaching a whopping £17,200. That is £4,500 higher than the average used car price in June 2019, which shows the astronomical increase in values since the pandemic. It's worth noting that drivers should not expect to see values go into reverse anytime soon. This is because the same market dynamics that helped fuel the record acceleration in growth are still at play. Although the huge growth in used car prices over the last few years may continue to soften over the coming months, there's certainly no indication in current data that prices are set to tumble. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do give it a like and consider subscribing. Why not share this video with someone else you think may benefit from it? And if you have any questions or comments, leave them for me below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you in the next one.